Hi peeps. How's everybody doing? Long time no talk. The last video that I did was my haul that I got. Other than that, I think before that it was New Year's. That's crazy. Been super busy with work. Officially signed my divorce papers, which is awesome. So I'm officially a divorcee. As awesome as that can be. I guess some people would feel that that's a good thing, depending on who you talk to. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to come on and talk about something that I have started doing in the first half of the year when it comes to spirituality and celebrating the Sabbats. So if someone was to come up to you and say, what are you doing this Sabbath? What are you celebrating? We all have things that we'll do. We'll go and we'll grab a book and we'll do a ritual on that, something that has to do with that Sabbath. And it's very specific to a date, right? Like it's very to the book, to the point. And, that made sense. For the longest time, it made sense. And then I watched a video, and I think it was like Peg Egyptian. I don't know how to say her YouTube name, and I'm totally just butchered it. But she did a video talking about why do we celebrate our Sabbats on calendar dates? Like, why does it always make sense to celebrate them on those days? And it kind of got me thinking, like, it made sense. Like, why would we celebrate something that it makes no sense when it comes to the nature of the season where we are, right? Like, it might not make sense to celebrate it in one part of the hemisphere and on that date. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And some of us see our spirituality as very lunar based. Like, we're very in tune with the cycles of the moon. And to us, it might make more sense that, we do the Sabbath closer to the full moon. So say if a Sabbath falls on one week and the next week is when the full moon is, why wouldn't you wait and celebrate it on the full moon if you're that drawn to the moon and that's where you see your Sabbath being held, right? So I did a little bit more research, and then I started doing that this year. I started celebrating the Sabbats when nature told me to celebrate them and with what felt right to me. And it has actually been really uplifting. I felt very connected and I'm very aware, if that makes any sense. Like, I've kind of gone to this view on my spirituality where it's not so much deity based anymore. I feel very connected to the earth and to the elements and to the universe and karma and the energies and how everything works together, and if how one thing is out of sync, everything just kind of falls out of sync with it. And if that's the route in which I'm taking my spirituality, why would I celebrate a Sabbath on a date that makes no sense? You know what I mean? Like, here, I'll grab my book and then we'll talk about it from there. How about that? So, the last, woohoo, don't sit down too fast because the camera moves. Hi. Oh, that's not gonna stay. There we go. Hi. Just gonna open up my Llewellyn date book, my witchy date book. So, sometimes it makes sense, right? Like, there's certain things that it would make sense to do on certain days, right? There's all that kind of stuff. But if we look at certain other things, oh my God, when was the last Sabbath? Ostera, I think, was the last Sabbath, right? Maybe. Am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong. My fingers don't want to work today. we go. So this year, you know, the calendar year, the spring equinox fell on the 20th of March, which is, it's the spring equinox. That's when, you know, it's dated that, when that happens, right? But I'm relatively lunar based in my faith. And so it kind of made no sense to celebrate the Sabbat on that date, because we were right in the middle of a right in the middle of a different type of moon. What were we in? We were in the first quarter, like the new moon stage, weren't we? Trying to see if it tells me in here. I feel like we were. Sorry, this is going to seem a little scattered. We were in the fourth quarter at that time. Nope. Second quarter. So the full moon had fallen the next week. It fell on the Saturday of the next week. So Ostara fell on a Tuesday. The following week, the Saturday, sorry, so like a whole week and a little bit later, was the full moon, which was the 31st of April. Sorry, 31st of March. And to me, I was a little bit more drawn to do it around there as well. But then, you know, Ostara, like if we look on in here, it'll give you a little blurb of like, you know, a time of perfect balance between light and dark with the center of gravity tipping toward the light. The spring equinox is the moment when we know for certain that we have shaken off the yoke of winter. It brings eggs, seeds, chicks, and bunnies, present sustenance and future abundance. Nature bursts with new life, but especially for ancient peoples, this time demands choices to ensure that life will continue. If I think back to end of March, beginning of April, we were still very much in the throes of winter. Everything was still frozen. We were still getting snow. It was like negative, way too cold to even be thinking about spring. Like it was just, yeah, okay, it's the first calendar day of spring, but it made no sense to me. It made no sense to even contemplate that spring was here. It made no sense. And then about 3 weeks later, about mid-April, we completely skipped right over spring. We went from having snow to being unseasonably high temperatures and being right into the throes of summer already, and there was no real time for that. So when it came to Ostara, I celebrated it a little bit different. I more celebrated like, okay, spring equinox, this is when things should be changing, but they're not changing, and it just wasn't, it's very specific to my area. You know, I still did my full moon ritual and still celebrated that it was a quarter of the year had gone, and it just, to me, I chose not to celebrate it this year. I chose to overlook it. And then when that warm weather did come, and when everything did finally start to come to life, it seemed to happen overnight. Then I did like a little Ostara ritual. I did a little thing for it, and it felt great. So, you know, going into the next Sabbat, it just makes sense to me, and it felt more connected, I guess would be the proper way to say it. You know, Beltane, I celebrated Beltane. I celebrated it a little bit earlier, I think I celebrated it. When did I celebrate Beltane? Yeah, so Beltane this year, obviously, of course, always falls on, you know, like the 1st of May is what it fell, May Day. I celebrated it on the 29th of April. It was the full moon, so that's when I chose to do it. But it just makes you more aware. It keeps you in tune with where everything is, right? Like, if we're choosing to listen to if a god or goddess is approaching us for certain things, or we're choosing to use herbs in our practice, crystals, extravagant tools, minimal tools, why should we be set on saying that this calendar date is when our Sabbath is? Like, why can it not be more personalized and more nature-based, and listening to the planet and listening to, you know, the elements and earth and water and air, and understanding the true meaning of what each Sabbath means and what is encompassed and why that Sabbath is being held at that specific time. If you really look at it, sometimes it doesn't make any sense to have it at that specific time, right? And so yeah, I decided to do that, and that's how I think I'm going to do my Sabbats going forward. Sorry, I keep touching my nose. My allergies are so bad right now. Anyways, but I just feel so much more connected. And, you know, as I continue to grow and I continue to learn new things in my spirituality, why wouldn't I be willing to do something that's a bit more personalized, a bit more connected for me, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so if you guys want to know more about it, or if you guys want to know when I celebrate my next Sabbath and why I chose to do it then, or if you have, whatever, you know, comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Like, does it seem weird that someone would want to celebrate their Sabbats on a different day? Like, do you feel like they're very dedicated to a specific day? Like, let me know. What do you guys think? Comment below, reply in a video, whatever. You know, whatever you want to do. But yeah, I mean, life is what you make it. Spirituality is what we choose to believe and what we choose to connect with and choose to do. And, you know, if we can pull information from different people and different sources, and one person says this and it resonates better with one person, and another person says this and you're like, I don't really see that. Why should one aspect be very to the book and this is what it is, when it's all about how you see it and how you connect, right? Yeah, that's just kind of my thought on it. But yeah. If you think I'm crazy, tell me I'm crazy. I might be, who knows. All right, I will probably see you guys in the next couple of days with another video. I think I'm going to go to a witch's store, maybe take you with me if they allow me to do it. Maybe I'll go on a nature walk and show you the beautiful nature that I have up here in Canada. Go for a little hike and take y'all with me. But until then, blessed be, and I love you guys. Bye!